On May 11, 2022, a scream pierced through the quiet Austin night. Then came two gunshots. Those sounds, captured on a neighbor's Ring doorbell camera, would be the last moments of a rising star in the cycling world. But this isn't just a story about a murder. It's about jealousy so consuming it drove someone to kill. It's about a 43-day international manhunt that ended at a yoga hostel in Costa Rica. And it's about how a woman who taught people to find inner peace became one of the most wanted fugitives in America. This is the story of Kaitlin Armstrong, the yoga teacher who killed for love. Anna Moriah Wilson, known to everyone as Mo, was 25 years old and on the verge of greatness. She was a professional gravel cyclist, which is exactly what it sounds like, racing bikes on unpaved roads, dirt, and gravel paths. It's grueling, it's intense, and Mo was dominating it. She'd recently moved from Vermont to Austin, Texas, to train in one of the best cycling communities in the country. On May 11th, she was just 3 days away from competing in the Gravel Locals race in Hico, Texas, 157 miles of pure endurance, and Mo was the favorite to win. That evening, Mo went swimming at Deep Eddy Pool with a fellow cyclist named Colin Strickland. They'd known each other for a while and had briefly dated the previous fall. After swimming, they grabbed dinner together and Colin dropped Mo off at her friend Kaitlin Cash's apartment around 8:30 p.m. Mo told Kaitlin she was going to shower and rest up for the big race. Everything seemed normal. Everything seemed fine. But less than 2 hours later, Kaitlin Cash would walk into her bathroom and find Mo lying face down in a pool of blood. She'd been shot 3 times, twice in the head and once through the heart. Police immediately began investigating, and one name kept coming up: Colin Strickland. Colin was also a professional cyclist, tall, athletic, and well-known in the Austin cycling scene. He told police that he and Mo had dated briefly in the fall of 2021, but it was during a break from his longtime on-and-off girlfriend, Kaitlin Armstrong. By the time Mo came to Austin in May 2022, Colin and Kaitlin were back together, but Colin admitted something crucial to investigators. He'd been secretly communicating with Mo. He'd even saved her number in his phone under a fake name so Kaitlin wouldn't know they were still talking. On the day of the murder, Colin picked Mo up for their swim and dinner date. But here's where it gets chilling. Colin told police that he deliberately left his phone at home that day because he knew Kaitlin tracked his location. He didn't want her to know he was with Mo. But what Colin didn't know was that Kaitlin had also been tracking Mo. She'd been following her workouts on the fitness app Strava. She knew exactly where Mo was. And on the night of May 11th, surveillance cameras captured a vehicle that looked exactly like Kaitlin's black Jeep Cherokee, circling the block near Kaitlin Cash's apartment. At 9:15 p.m., the Jeep stopped near the residence. Moments later, those gunshots rang out. Police questioned Colin extensively, but his alibi checked out. He was nowhere near the scene. He was cleared as a suspect. The real suspect was Kaitlin Armstrong. On May 12th, just 1 day after the murder, Austin police brought Kaitlin in for questioning. They showed her the surveillance footage of her Jeep. They told her about the ballistics evidence. Shell casings found at the scene matched a gun that belonged to her, a Sig Sauer P365 handgun that she'd recently learned to shoot at a firing range. But Kaitlin remains calm, too calm. She claimed she had no idea where she was that night. She couldn't remember. She had no alibi. Detectives pushed harder. They told her about Mo. They told her they knew about Colin's secret communications with Mo. Kaitlin still said nothing concrete. She didn't ask for a lawyer, she just deflected and dodged. After the interrogation, police let her go. They didn't have enough to arrest her yet. They needed more evidence. And that was Kaitlin's opportunity to run. The very next day, May 13th, Kaitlin sold her Jeep Cherokee to a CarMax dealership in South Austin for $12,200. She liquidated the one piece of physical evidence that could tie her to the crime scene. Then, she disappeared. On May 17th, police obtained an arrest warrant for first-degree murder, but by then, Kaitlin Armstrong was already gone. Investigators discovered that Kaitlin had flown from Austin to New York City. Surveillance footage showed her at the airport wearing a denim jacket. But after that, the trail went cold. Until U.S. Marshals started digging deeper. They discovered something shocking. Kaitlin had used her sister's passport. Her sister, Christine Armstrong, looked similar enough that Kaitlin thought she could get away with it. And she did. She boarded an international flight from Newark, New Jersey to Costa Rica. For 43 days, Kaitlin Armstrong vanished. She was living under fake names, moving from town to town, staying in hostels and cheap rentals, but she wasn't just hiding. She was transforming. Search warrants later revealed that Kaitlin had undergone plastic surgery in Costa Rica. Over $6,000 worth. She was changing her appearance, trying to become someone new. She dyed her hair brown. She got work done on her face. She was building a new life. But the U.S. Marshals were relentless. They set up a trap. Knowing Kaitlin was a yoga instructor, they placed an ad on Facebook looking for a yoga teacher in the Santa Teresa Beach area of Costa Rica. And Kaitlin responded. On June 29, 2022, U.S. Marshals stormed into a hostel in Provincia de Punta Arenas and found Kaitlin Armstrong lying low. The manhunt was over. She was arrested, extradited back to the United States, and held on a $3.5 million bond. Kaitlin Armstrong's trial began on November 1, 2023. She pled not guilty, and her defense team argued that the case against her was nothing but circumstantial evidence. No cameras captured her at the scene. No witnesses saw her pull the trigger. But the prosecution built a devastating case. They presented surveillance footage showing her Jeep circling the block minutes before Mo was killed. They showed the jury ballistics evidence proving the shell casings at the scene matched Kaitlin's gun. They revealed her obsessive behavior, tracking Mo on Strava and monitoring Colin's every move. Then came that digital evidence. Investigators had examined Kaitlin's online searches while she was in Costa Rica. She'd searched her own name repeatedly, reading news articles about the manhunt. She'd looked up things like, can IMI be tracked if not making phone calls, referring to how phones can be tracked. And most bizarrely, she'd searched, can pineapples burn your fingerprints? She was paranoid. She was guilty. And she knew it. The prosecution also played that haunting Ring doorbell audio for the jury. The scream. The gunshots. Mo's final moments. And then just 3 weeks before the trial began, Kaitlin made one last desperate move. While being escorted to a doctor's appointment, she tried to escape from police custody. She ran. She didn't make it more than half a block before officers tackled her to the ground. The jury deliberated for just 2 hours. On November 16, 2023, they returned a guilty verdict. Kaitlin Armstrong was sentenced to 90 years in prison. She was also ordered to pay a $10,000 fine. Mo Wilson's family sat in that courtroom and wept. Her mother, Karen, told the court that Mo was destined to shine, to laugh, to be a unique person. Finding out about her daughter's death, she said, was the worst moment of her life. Kaitlin Armstrong is currently serving her sentence and has filed multiple appeals. She maintains her innocence to this day. But the evidence doesn't lie. Jealousy, obsession, and rage drove Kaitlin Armstrong to take a gun, drive across town, and shoot a young woman 3 times simply because she'd once dated the man she loved. Mo Wilson was 25 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. She was on the verge of becoming one of the greatest gravel cyclists in the world. Instead, her life was stolen by a woman who couldn't let go. What do you think of this story? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more true crime deep dives.